In a world where glitter often blinds the heart, many chase gold and mistake it for love. They say, money makes life easier. But what happens when comfort becomes a cage? This is not just Aisha's story. It's a mirror for anyone who's ever been tempted to trade peace for luxury. Because sometimes what shines the brightest can burn the deepest. Before you judge her, ask yourself, if you were promised the world, would you say no? Stay with me till the end of this story, because what Aisha learned too late might just have, saved someone you know or yourself. Aisha grew up in the bustling, dusty streets of Lagos, where every day was a hustle. Her family lived in a cramped two-room apartment, and the sounds of her mother hawking pepper and her father's worn-out sandals scraping the pavement were the soundtrack of her youth. Aisha was beautiful, with skin like rich mahogany and eyes that sparkled with unfulfilled dreams. But beauty didn't pay the bills, did it? One scorching afternoon, while working at her own small fabric store in Balogun Market, a sleek black Mercedes pulled up. Out stepped a man who seemed to have walked out of a magazine, Chief Obinna, a wealthy businessman known for his numerous ventures and even more numerous wives. He was older, his hair flecked with grey, but his smile was disarmingly charming, and his ageless eyes held a glint of something very powerful. Chief Obinna started visiting the store frequently, not to buy fabric, but to talk to Aisha. He did buy her expensive meals, send her designer clothes, and soon a brand new smartphone appeared in her hand. Aisha had never experienced such attention, such generosity. Her friends whispered envy behind their hands, and her family, initially wary, began to see Chief Obinna as a blessing, a gateway to a better life. "He truly loves me," Aisha confided in her best friend, Ngozi, showing off a dazzling diamond necklace Chief Obinna had just given her. "He understands my struggles and he wants to take care of me." Ngozi, always the pragmatist, just nodded, a thoughtful frown on her face. She said, "Just make sure you understand him too, Aisha." Chief Obinna proposed a few months later. He didn't get down on one knee in a fancy restaurant. Instead, he presented her with the keys to a brand new apartment in Ikoyi and a substantial bank account, all in her name. "This is just the taste of what our life together will be, my dear," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "Say yes and all your worries will disappear." Aisha, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of his gifts, by the promise of escaping poverty, said yes. She genuinely believed this was love, a man showering her with everything she had ever dreamed of because he adored her. She saw the gifts as proofs of his affection, not as a transaction. Her mother cried tears of joy, her father beamed with pride. Aisha was finally going to have the life she deserved. Their wedding was the talk of Lagos, an extravagant affair held in a five-star hotel with politicians, celebrities, and business tycoons in attendance. Aisha, adorned in a custom-made lace gown, felt like a queen. Her new life had begun, and it was everything she had imagined and more. After the honeymoon in Dubai, They settled into their opulent mansion in Ikoyi. Aisha had a fleet of cars, an army of domestic staff, and an unlimited credit card. Chief Obinna was still generous, constantly buying her expensive jewelries, designer bags, and taking her out on lavish shopping sprees. But slowly, softly, things began to shift. Chief Obinna was rarely home. He was always in meetings, traveling, or with his business associates. When he was home, he was often distant, preoccupied. He didn't ask about her day, didn't seem interested in her thoughts or feelings. Their conversations became superficial, mostly revolving around the gift he had bought her or the next social event they had to attend. Aisha found herself spending her days alone in the vast mansion, surrounded by luxury but feeling increasingly isolated. The endless shopping trips and spa days began to feel hollow. She tried to suggest activities like visiting her family or taking a class, but Chief Obinna would always brush her off. "What do you want to learn, my dear? You have everything you could ever want." One evening, Aisha was feeling unwell and suggested staying home. Chief Obinna, who had planned a dinner party with some important business partners, became cold and dismissive. "You are my wife, Aisha. You represent me. Your presence is expected." He bought her a stunning diamond bracelet the next day, a peace offering that felt more like a reminder of her role. It was during one of her rare visits to her family that the stark contrast hit her. Her mother's small, warm home, filled with laughter and genuine affection, felt more comforting than her gilded cage. Ngozi, her best friend, looked at her with concern. "Aisha, you look thinner, and your eyes, they don't sparkle like they used to." "I have everything, Ngozi," Aisha said, forcing a smile. "What more could I want?" But deep down, a seed of doubt has been planted. The gifts, once symbols of love, now felt like shackles. Each expensive item came with a silent expectation, a subtle erosion of her own will and desires. She was adorned, admired, but never truly seen. She was Chief Obinna's prize, a beautiful accessory to his success. Months turned into a year, then two. Aisha's once vibrant spirit was slowly dimming. The loneliness was a constant companion, and the silence of the mansion often echoed her own unspoken happiness. Chief Obinna's gifts continued, but they brought no joy. They were just more things, filling the void but never truly satisfying. One afternoon, while Chief Obinna was out, Aisha stumbled upon a hidden compartment in his study. Inside, she found a stack of documents. Curious, she started reading. Her heart began to pound as she saw her own name, her signature on various legal papers. They weren't just gifts. They were contracts, agreements, transferring assets, properties, and even stocks in her husband's businesses to her. She initially felt a surge of pride. He trusted her so much, but as she read further, a chilling realization dawned upon her. These were not outright gifts. They were part of a complex financial scheme. Chief Obinna was using her name, her innocent image, to circumvent certain tax laws, to hide assets, and to diversify his portfolios in ways that would be scrutinized. If he used his own, already highly scrutinized, name, he was using her as a shield, a clean front for his less than transparent dealings. The gifts she received were crumbs compared to the vast fortunes he was moving through her name. She was not a wife, she was a vessel. She was not loved, she was utilized. The worst revelation came when she found a document outlining a trust fund in her name, but with a clause that clearly stated Chief Obinna had a full control of the financial decisions until her death or his. Whichever came first, by the way. He hadn't just given her money, he had tied her to his financial empire in a way that made her a pawn. Aisha confronted him that evening. Her voice trembled, but a newfound resolve hardened her gaze. "What is all this, Obinna? What have you done? What have you done to me?" Chief Obinna, initially surprised, quickly regained his composure. He didn't deny it. Instead, he smiled, a cold, calculating smile that sent shivers down Aisha's spine. "My dear Aisha, you have everything you ever wanted, didn't you? A life of luxury, no worries, no struggles. Did you really think it came for free?" He explained it all, calmly, clinically. How her humble background made her the perfect clean slate for his various financial maneuvers. How her lack of business knowledge made her easily manageable. How the gifts were just a small investment for a much larger return. "You are my greatest asset, Aisha," he said, his eyes devoid of any warmth. "And you agreed to this when you said yes to my proposal. You choose this life. You choose money over, well, whatever else you thought you were getting." Aisha stared at him, her world crumbling around her. She saw the truth in his eyes, the absolute lack of remorse. The man she thought loved her, who had lifted her out of poverty, had simply bought her, her body and her soul. She was trapped, entangled in a web of financial deceit. Her name on documents she barely understood, her freedom slowly siphoned away, replaced by designer labels and empty rooms. Aisha tried to leave. She packed a small bag, intending to go back to her family, to whatever humble life awaited her. But Chief Obinna simply laughed. "Where will you go, Aisha? Everything you own, everything you are now is tied to me. The apartment, the cars, even the money in your personal account is all part of the structure. If you leave, you lose everything. And you will be investigated, questioned about all these transactions. Do you think a poor girl from Lagos Market will be believed over Chief Obinna?" His words were a cold shower. He was right. She was financially dependent, legally bound, and her name was now inextricably linked to his shady deals. She was no longer just a poor girl. She was Chief Obinna's wife, a figurehead in his empire. When a person buys your silence with gifts, your freedom becomes the prize. She wanted gold and she got it, but it came with chains. Love that controls isn't love. Wealth without peace is poverty in disguise. No amount of diamonds can replace the glow of self-worth. Be wise enough to know the difference between being valued and being used. If this story moved you, share it. Someone out there might be walking into the same golden trap. And remember, true wealth isn't what's in your bank account, it's what's left when the money is gone. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for another story.